And in the Impact segment tonight, economic justice. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Thousands of Americans working in fast food places across the country demanding their wages be doubled to $15 an hour from the minimum $7.25. President Obama is sympathetic to that, and the left in general believing that our economic system is unjust to working Americans. So let's take a look at it, beginning with my employment history. My first job was at a Carvel ice cream stand. I was paid minimum wage with free hot fudge sundaes as a perk. I was 17 years old when I got the job, and I worked at Carvel for a year. I understood that I was a rookie in the labor force and could get a recommendation from my boss for the future, so I didn't complain about the low pay. The next summer, before I went to college, I took a Red Cross course, got my lifeguard certification, then went on to become a water safety instructor. Immediately, I made 5 times more money than I made at Carvel. And I didn't have any trouble getting a job because Long Island is a beach place surrounded by water with plenty of pools as well. The next year, I needed more money because college demanded it. So I started a painting business. I rounded up some of my thug friends, and we painted houses for a very reasonable price. We made a ton of money. I did that for 5 summers, even after I graduated, supplementing my very low income as a high school teacher. Then I went to grad school, and in the summer, I drove a taxi. Flexible hours, tips off the books. Don't tell the IRS. After graduating from Boston University with a master's in broadcast journalism, I took a very low-paying job at a TV station in Scranton, Pennsylvania, because it was hard to break into TV. So I had to work for peanuts, but I knew that if I did good work, I'd rise up, and that's what happened. Now, nobody's forced to work in a fast food joint. You do that to get workplace experience. Then you figure out how to get a better job. That's how capitalism goes. You work your way up unless your dad owns the business. Truth is that capitalism really hasn't changed all that much over the years. Prove yourself in the marketplace and your salary will rise. However, if you're incompetent, lazy, or dishonest, you're going to fail. The left in America, and that includes President Obama, wants the federal government to guarantee wages. And if they could, they'd guarantee jobs. That is called socialism. But the USA is a capitalist country. And if you get educated and work hard, you will not be making minimum wage. Do we all understand that? Now, I don't think our system is generally unjust or racist. I do believe, however, that it's not easy to make good money. Big-time salaries involve sacrifice, pain, and commitment. But today, many Americans feel they are entitled to high-paying jobs. And if they don't secure them, here come the charges of economic injustice and oppression by the fat cats. Look, there's oppression in almost everything. During my career up the TV ladder, I moved 10 times in 15 years because if the workplace where I was became unjust or unproductive, which it did in some cases, I went someplace else. And our competitive system gave me a chance to do that. So let's stop the whining, shall we? This country offers huge opportunities. Seize them. And that's the memo. Now for reaction, joining us from our New York studio, Rich Benjamin from the Progressive Demos organization, and from Los Angeles, Ebony Williams, a radio talk show host. So Ms. Williams, where am I going wrong?
Well, but one place I think you're veering off a little bit from is the fact that in your example, you talked about how you were a 17-year-old working for an ice cream shop, and you took that as a launching pad to move up. But if we look at the current fast food industry, these aren't just a ton of 17-year-old kids trying to work their way through the summer. We're talking about 2/3 of this workforce bill being women. And of those women, the median age range is 32. So that lets us know that these are not kids working their way through
let me
school.
ask you this question. Why do you think a 32-year-old woman is working at McDonald's or Burger King? Why?
She's trying to provide for her.
No. Why is that the job that they have applied for? Why?
Well, probably because that is probably the skill set that they currently
All right, there you go. You just nailed it.
Yes.
Because they can't do anything else. All right?
Okay.
Take a typing course. Take a computer course. They are free. They are given. People have to get
Bill,
skills.
I agree.
All right?
Can I say that I agree with you with that point? I think that that's the biggest gap in our country. We talk about the economic gap and sometimes the achievement gap, But what we're talking about is a gap in skill. So I agree with you there, Bill. You're
You
absolutely
have to
right.
be
But in the meantime,
self-assertive.
right.
In the meantime,
Right. Okay. But
if
in the
you raise
meantime,
it, look,
don't they
I
need
want,
to be able to
I
provide?
want the 32-year-old mother working in McDonald's to make the 15. Personally, I want it.
Great.
All right, but the unintended consequence of that is the Big Mac's going to go up $1, and so is everything else. All right, so that's what's going to happen. Now, Mr. Williams, where am I making a mistake in my talk? Mr. Benjamin, I'm sorry. Where am I making a mistake in my talking points, ma'am?
Well, Bill, I just got back from these strikes here in New York City at Union Square, and I met a woman who is making minimum wage, trying to support her family, and as you suggest, she's trying to get a better education, and it's difficult for her to do so.
How old is this woman?
She was around 34, mid-30s.
And how many children does she have?
2.
And does she have a husband? Is he working?
I didn't ask her that, and it's
Yeah,
not
no,
really
that's a
relevant.
key question.
No, it's not relevant.
No,
It's not
look,
illegal to not have a husband
It's not
in this
illegal to
country.
do anything, okay? But I'm telling you what, we're talking straight here.
Mhm.
All right, if the woman who's 34 has 2 children, all right, out of wedlock with no husband and no visible
You're
means of
making
support,
assumptions.
what do you think's going to happen?
We're making assumptions. I don't know that she's out of wedlock. But the bottom line is she's just trying to improve herself like most Americans. And you
that's a
can't
good thing.
do that on a minimum wage. And as far as your talking points memo is concerned, I wish we could go back to that economy too, where the middle class wasn't hollowed out, where your productivity was fairly rewarded. Over the last couple decades, we've seen workers work harder, but their work just isn't rewarded in the way that it was back in the day.
It will be rewarded if there's more jobs. See, what drives wages up, Ebony, all right? What drives wages up is the competition for jobs. So the more jobs there are, the higher the salaries go.
But if we
All
had
right,
better
Mr. Benjamin,
salaries,
you want the government to set
if we
an
had
artificial
better
system.
salaries, folks would spend more, we would have more consumers, and we would hire more.
But the company's
And-
profit margin drops, thereby they hire
Not necessarily,
McDonald's has,
though, Bill.
McDonald's
Look at
has seen
Costco.
bonzo
Yeah.
profits
What?
over the McDonald's has seen record profits. So we know it's not a question of profits. The fast food
You see,
industry
you want the
has
government
been-
to regulate what McDonald's makes.
No, it's-
McDonald's is free to make as much profit as it can. All right, now, Ebony, I want to get
Bill,
you.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
I was gonna say,
started
now we
at
know that
J.
with Costco.
You started at J.
Yeah, oh,
Crew,
go ahead.
Ebony. J. Crew, right?
Absolutely.
Minimum wage,
Yes.
right? Okay. Apparently, you're very smart in school because you finished high school at age 16. You got a full ride to North Carolina University. North Carolina, right?
Yeah, go
right.
Tar Heels.
So very smart.
Yep.
So your education was paid for, right?
It was.
Okay. So I don't see any
But can I
economic
add to
injustice
this?
there. Now,
No,
Mr.
I'm gonna
Benjamin,
tell Bill,
you.
I had some advantage. I had some advantage though, Bill. I had a mother that was a fierce advocate for me in terms of an
And that's good,
education.
and that's
that I
good,
wouldn't
but
have
we're
ordinarily
talking about the
received.
system now. The system did you well.
Exactly.
Now, Mr. Benjamin, you started at Popeye's Fried Chicken,
I did,
right?
I did.
And like
That's-
me, you probably got a couple of wings for free.
I
got
did.
to carve out.
I
All right.
did.
And then you wind up going to Stanford for your PhD,
Mhm.
and you got all kinds of scholarship money as well, did you not?
Bill, here's the difference.
Wait, did
Here's the
you
difference.
not?
Here's the difference.
Are
The
you not gonna
difference
answer
is
that question?
I'm not the average worker who's striking. My dad went to Yale. I've grown up with privilege. And so even growing up
I
with
didn't.
privilege,
I didn't.
I understand that the working class in this country does not have the same advantages.
All right. But
that
Mr.
working-
Benjamin, what I'm trying to get across,
Mm.
I didn't know your father went to Yale and you were a guy of privilege. But what I'm trying to get across to you, Miss Williams, and the millions of people around the world
And I
watching
wasn't.
us tonight,
Yeah.
is that there is no economic injustice. It's a tough system, a competitive system. That's what
these-
capitalism is.
these people
Now,
are
you know, I'm going to
But
give you
Bill,
both
that's
20
true.
seconds.
That is true.
I'm going to give you
But
both
can
20
we both
seconds.
admit, thank you.
Ebony, you
I'll
go
get that,
first.
Bill.
20
Can we acknowledge, can we acknowledge, you're right, Bill, it's a tough system and no one said it should nor would be easy. But can we at least support, I have a single mom. I didn't come from privilege at all. I'm the first person in my family to finish school. And I want to say that because she was supported by certain programming and she had some support in helping raise her only child, I was able to get better breaks in life that have put me in a position to work hard and support myself. And I just want the same for every child in this country.
Mr. Benjamin, 20 seconds here.
We have a system that's looking out for corporations. I think these workers are wise and smart to strike at a minimum wage so that they can live. I don't know anyone who can live on $7.25 an hour.
And
And by the way, if they were paid according to their
I don't think they should.
productivity,
I don't think they
would be
should
making
have
at
to.
least $15 an hour, and so
Everybody
that's the
should-
difference.
All right, everybody should become a lifeguard. All right, just learn how to swim. All right, guys, thanks very much. Directly ahead as we continue from Boston.